Here we go. Time to start the show.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
New and interesting things to help curb your football addiction in the offseason. The AAF. What is the AAF, you ask?
I did ask that.
It's the Alliance for American Football. It is a new football league that features 8 teams and will play, I believe, a 10-game schedule.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then playoffs. Don't
worry, all the names and logos are pretty similar to what you would see in the WNBA. They're stupid. Because they're stupid.
You don't like the WNBA logos?
No, and then there's like
I love the DC team, the Mystics.
The Mystics and the Dream, and I think there's one that's like the Stars. It's just dumb shit. Look at this. The Atlanta Legends. No.
That's tight.
No, it's not. The Birmingham Iron. I know what they're trying to go for, but all in my head I see is just someone doing laundry, right? They've got dress pants on a table ironing. The Memphis Express. Are you a train? Are you like the post office express delivery? I don't know what you are. The Orlando Apollos. Like, is it Greek gods?
No, that's short for Apologies.
Oh, what if it was a team of just Apollo Creeds?
Oh my God.
A bunch of Carl Weathers out there in American flag boxing shorts.
As long as there's not a bunch of Russians on the other team.
If he dies, he dies.
R.I.P. Apollo. I miss you so much.
The Arizona Hot Shots. It's a bro name.
It's like the Phoenix Suns. That's a basketball team.
Stupid too. At least the Sun is an actual thing. Hot Shot is just a nickname you call someone who's being an asshole. The Salt Lake Stallions. Okay, maybe.
A stallion.
The San Antonio Commanders.
Do you remember Stephen Barry's? You ever go to Stephen Barry? These are all the fake teams that you can buy their jackets at. They found a warehouse of unused Stephen Barry jerseys and jackets.
And they're like, well, I guess this works.
I guess these teams work.
The last team, the San Diego Fleet. Their logo is a battleship. I'm not about the names or the team.
Like I actually like that one, San Diego Fleet. That was my favorite.
That's probably the best one. But I like the idea of the AAFL in regards
There's no L. How many times do I have to tell you there's no L?
Fuck. The AAF.
No L.
No L. I like it in the fact that it helps curb people's football addiction, right? I get it. But the more important reason I think I like it is that it's going to help for guys who are good but not good enough to get drafted. I think it gives undrafted kids a chance to like prove themselves and actually potentially make it. And it gives older players a chance to like fade out into nothingness.
You know who I found out's on an AAF team? One of your all-time favorites, Ladarius Gunter. He's back in action. He's a shutdown corner.
No, he's not. He never was, never has been. So the AAF, there are some pretty slick things about it in terms of rules and such.
I really like that they don't use the kickoff at the start of the game. Did you see that?
I did see that there's no kickoffs, which I think is pretty sweet because with the new NFL kickoff rules, I don't know why anybody would take the ball out. They're giving you a quarter of the field for free, 25-yard line. Just let it go every time.
I mean, honestly, I hate the kickoff. I still think we should do what the AAF does under special circumstances. We should make it the standard. 4th and 15 or something of that effect, plus or minus a few yards.
Okay, let's go back. The AAF, kickoffs don't exist. Kickoffs, you always get the ball from the 25.
They don't exist?
Right. No kickoffs. You only get the ball from the 25-yard line after each score or the beginning of the half. That's it. No kickoffs at all, ever.
That's good. Kickoffs are so boring and useless.
Now they are. They used to be cool, but now
they were never cool. They haven't been cool in a long time. And you know why? Because it's just impossible. Ever since all the wedge stuff was broken when everyone was dying, way back then, the kickoff stopped being useful.
And that's why I say, I don't know why anybody even takes the ball out. Let the ball go in the end zone every time, which is what the AAF is doing.
I think I like it a lot. The other thing, they have those special stipulations. It's like within the last 5 minutes if you're down by
17.
Yeah, if you're down by 17, you can go for it 4th and 12 or something?
I've got it here. Onside kicks have been replaced. If you're trailing by 17 points with 5 minutes or less left in the fourth quarter, you can opt to get the ball at your own 28-yard line and try for a 4th and 12.
That's a good rule. That should be what happens after your point after in the NFL. A punt is exciting, but a kickoff is so boring.
There's no extra points either. You have to go for 2 after every touchdown.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm good with that. No TV timeouts and fewer full screen commercials. Sweet, because I'm sick of TV timeouts. This is super neat too. They have a sky judge referee.
What is that? What does that mean?
Well, he can communicate with the officials on the field in real time, so the refs don't have to go under the hood for replays.
Oh, that seems like so obvious.
I know, looking at you, Roger Goodell. And here's another one that I love because it's almost the perfect overtime rules. In overtime, each team gets the ball at the opposing 10-yard line. You have 1 possession to score a touchdown and then go for a 2-point conversion. The game ends in a tie if neither team scores. Now, that's almost perfect because the perfect overtime rules happen in college when I believe you get the ball from the 25-ish and go score. It makes sense. It literally makes it A, sudden death and exciting, B, no ties.
For the playoffs, I want to have just a 5th quarter.
No, it's stupid. It's stupid. Just do what I said. Go to the college rules. It's more exciting. It's truly a sudden death overtime. It's so simple. It's so incredibly simple.
I think you can have a sudden death, but like hockey, that's what they do. They have a couple extra periods, and if it doesn't go, then you go to a shootout.
Cool. I want shootouts.
I mean, what are we going to do? Like throw those like life preserver rings in the air, and whichever quarterback can throw the ball through the ring.
It's like shooting a clay pigeon, but the quarterback's trying to throw the ball through life raft or life savers.
You've got your center out there throwing life preservers in the air.
I mean, I'd almost be cool with that. Like, I'd be fine. Or here's one. It's like horse, but with kickers. The basketball game horse when you were a kid.
Yeah, of course.
But kickers or punters. I don't give a shit which. Just trick shots.
Oh, straight trick shots to decide the game.
If you can't make this, sorry. HORSE. You lose. Sorry.
I'm getting Cody Parkey. Nobody else can hit that post as often.
The Bears are so fucked.
No. The shot is you have to hit the post.
Ooh, but he tries to not. Don't you have to call it first?
Yeah, you call it first. I'm gonna hit the post.
Okay, well then he's clearly calling right down the middle.
No, coach doesn't tell him. Coach doesn't tell him.
Oh.
All right, we're just gonna make this one from about 40 yards out. Just go ahead and drill it right through.
The coach leans to the ref and says, "It's gonna hit the left goalpost."
And then the Bears win.
The kickers barely play anyways. Just let the kickers do it. It'd be so cool. I'd be so down for that.
Those are good rules. I haven't seen it yet. My brother, who I will refer to as Bro Jeezy.
Wait, Big Bro Jeezy or Little Bro Jeezy? Or Middle Bro Jeezy?
Little Bro Jeezy.
Okay.
Little Bro Jeezy said he saw it and it was fun and it was fast because he was kind of, when you watch those other leagues, sometimes the players are all really slow. He said it's still really fast and they've got real athletic talent.
Yeah. I mean, too, I'm looking at the Packers that, there are a handful of former Packers that are playing in the AAF. And there's actually a lot of more recent players than you would think.
Like Ladarius Gunter.
Shut up. No. Like this guy, I don't know how to say his last name, Joel Bonyong. I mean, he played in the preseason, and apparently he had 39 yards on 16 carries for the Salt Lake Stallions. Fun fact, the Salt Lake Stallions actually are sponsored by the Green Bay Packers.
Sponsored by?
Yeah, each NFL team sponsors an AAF team, which listeners, go research it yourself because we don't have time for that bullshit. Most important one, the Packers are the Salt Lake Stallions affiliate team. Oh, sorry. Affiliate is the correct word. Affiliate team.
So it is a feeder league thing or not?
It's not necessarily a feeder league, but each of the AAF teams has NFL affiliates. For instance, the Salt Lake Stallions affiliates are the Broncos, Packers, Vikings, and Seahawks. I'm not sure how they divided it up. I did read something actually interesting that the players were allocated to their teams by region based on where they played college football or last played with an NFL or CFL club.
That's cool. I like it. I'm going to watch next week. Do we know what channel this is on at all?
It's not Disney. I know that.
So it's not on the same channel as the Pro Bowl.
That's right.
I'm going to look for it next week. I'm going to see if I can find it.
We should do that. Former Packers, I mentioned Joel Banyong, but Jarrell Presley, Carl Bradford, Jaron Elliott, Greer Martini, Donatello Brown. Sounds like he was from the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right. Guess what? Ladarius Gunter, who plays for the Orlando Apollos, check this shit. He saw action for the Apollos on Saturday night, but did not record any stats.
I mean, what doesn't like...
That means that he was on the field, and that's it. He could have been accidentally standing on the field.
What?
It's like the last game of the season when you're a kid, and your team's not going to the playoffs, and so you're like, all right, kids that suck, everybody go play for a little bit. Here you go, Ladarius Gunter. Go play for a little bit.
I don't have any beef with you, Ladarius, wherever you are.
I have all the beef. Speaking of shitty washed-up players...
shitty washed-up? Some of them are young.
Jimmy Graham. It sounds like the Packers are leaning towards retaining him. He's due $5 million roster bonus on the 15th of March, which I guess just means as long as he's still on the roster, he gets $5 million.
Oh, shit. We could cut him on Pi Day and save $5 million. For all you non-math nerds, Pi Day is March
3.1415926535897932384626433. That's all I remember.
Damn, that was pretty good. That's farther than I know. I know like 8 digits. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your Jimmy
Graham slam.
Oh, man. Are we going to Denny's already? I'll have the
Denny's again?
I'll have the Denny's Jimmy Graham slam, please.
Oh, God, if they were smart in Green Bay and Jimmy Graham actually does something decent, like regional Denny's should do the Jimmy Graham slam.
I'll have the Jimmy Graham slam, please.
I need to call Denny's and say, hey, could we get a sponsorship? Because we talk about you guys all the time.
So your quote comes from Clutch Points, Maximo Gonzalez. My favorite line from this is Green Bay will be sticking with Graham for next season. Head coach Matt LaFleur made it clear that he hopes to reduce Rodgers' workload. This could potentially involve more checkdowns to Graham underneath. It's like, that's not reducing his workload. That's actually increasing his workload.
He's moving his arm no matter what.
Yeah.
Reducing his workload would be handing the ball off.
That would be handing the ball off. Checkdowns mean more passes. I read this earlier and laughed until I almost peed when I read that, which is embarrassing because it's really not that funny, but it's like, this is nonsense.
Nonsensical.
This is why we're allowed to talk about football on the internet.
Because nonsense happens.
Just the straight nonsense.
Speaking of nonsense and subpar performances, Jeezy.
Wait, I'm not subpar, I'll have you know.
Jeezy, you found a pretty good article that you were very proud of.
I know I found this article. I was really excited, but the more I read it, the more sadder I get. And I don't know if I have the heart to do it right now. That's fine. That's fine. No, it's fine. We'll stash it. No, let's go. You want to do it? You want to do this right now? AcmePackingCompany.com by Mike Veith. Here's the headline. Packers 2018 roster grades. Special teams were a nightmare in 2018. A nightmare.
Yeah,
it keeps me up at night. I mean...
Oh, I scrolled down to the bottom. Overall grade, F.
F. That's a deserved F.
Just straight up F.
Every time I read this article, it just breaks my heart. I mean, the truth is, I want to talk about special teams because Ron Zook makes me... Ron Zook makes me puke. Ron Zook makes me puke. If we go to Green Bay, if we would have gone last year, we should have had picket signs and stood out front of Lambeau Field and gone, Ron Zook makes me puke. Ron Zook makes me puke. I look at this list, right? And it is just an underperforming list. It's not like a Hall of Fame anything, but it's not bad. If I look at that cast of characters, I don't think, oh, we're getting an F for sure. I think, fine. We're gonna have a pretty standard looking special teams. Maybe Mason Crosby will have one of his good years. Maybe he'll have one of his regular years. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
All fine. All that stuff, fine. But then you add in Ron. It's like you ever have a substitute teacher. Ron Zook was a substitute. I'm pretty sure he might have been a substitute teacher.
Or he was the hangover teacher that was like too hungover to really teach. So they pulled out the VHS tape and had video day.
Every day.
Just fucking, I can't, I'm too hungover to teach you kids. watch Land Before Time. I can't
Land Before Time sing along with the little bouncing ball.
I can't figure out how this VHS works, even though there's only 2 fucking buttons on it. Can one of you kids, Mr. Zook, change the TV to channel 3? I don't know how to. I'm just so hungover. Can one of you kids? Now the VHS isn't working. Mr. Zook, press the one fucking button on it. It's play.
I'm just tired of. We should talk about this at length when I've had a moment to digest this. But when I see this overall grade F, I say, yeah, that's what we earned. If I was going into the parent-teacher conference, the Packers special teams is my son or daughter. You know, I'm an active parent. I see what they're doing in the classroom. I go into that conference knowing that the teacher's going to say, well, it's definitely a special team. They're getting an F. Look, we're at home, we're practicing, it doesn't seem to be working out. I don't know what's happening. And the teacher turns to me and say, well, we've been giving him a lot of extra attention from our teacher, Ron Zook.
The teacher turns and looks at you in a very concerned voice says, how are things at home?
Oh my God.
Because it just seems that young special teamy here just isn't performing to his or her full potential. And Mr. Zook is a great teacher. I'm not sure if there's problems at home, maybe, or if something else is the matter.
Could be anything, but it's definitely Ron Zook.
Definitely earned an F. I'd like to push on here.
Let's push on.
To your and my favorite section.
Do it. It's the Gossip Girl section.
I read something completely preposterous, but apparently it's
give me that
for
posterior.
real. It's for real. The Chiefs are entirely planning on signing Patrick Mahomes to a $200 million contract in 2020. First off,
$200 million.
A couple of things why this is ridiculous.
$200 million.
That's right. A couple reasons why this is ridiculous. Step 1, he could get hurt next year and just not matter. Step 2, he had a good year. He was an MVP for sure, but $200 million.
When's the last time the Chiefs were really in the AFC Championship?
Well, here's my other problem too. Salary cap. Are you just gonna say fuck it to everybody else and yeah, whatever, just Patrick Mahomes all in, you do everything, please? It's ridiculous.
So I mean, Aaron Rodgers an average 33.5 milli over 5 years?
Yeah, but he's got a history of being good.
I mean,
Patrick Mahomes has a year under his belt of being good.
But he's only 23. He could also be good for 15 more years.
That also could have been a flash in the pan. I'm just saying, yeah. I don't think he's necessarily warranting. We'll see what happens next year, but $200 million seems outrageous to me. That's baseball money. Baseball doesn't have salary caps. That's baseball money. It doesn't make any sense.
That's over 5 years, right? I didn't see, or no, yeah, 5 years.
That's $40 million a year. That's still eating up so much cap space. That's insane.
I once heard a guy. I never listened to his podcast, but I once heard a guy who said, if you have the man, you pay the man. Because if you don't have the man... What? Did you say something?
True. No, it's still true. But it's true. I stand by those words, number one. But right now what you have is a...
Wait, who said those words?
I did. Me. I said those words.
Oh, it was Van who said those words.
But right now, I'm not saying the Chiefs have the man. They have...
You don't think Patrick Mahomes is the man?
They had the adolescent. They're not sure if he's the man yet.
Are you kidding me?
He could be.
This reminds me of that video you sent me of Skip Bayless.
No. Oh, fuck
you
off.
are Skip Bayless right now.
I'm done with this podcast. Goodbye. We're not friends anymore.
Don't worry.
Skip fucking Bayless.
I'll finish the podcast, everybody. Don't worry. He'll be back.
I'm back. Give me some more depth. I want some more history.
I'm telling you right now that if I was starting a team in a new league, I would call it something cool like the AAF. I could take any player from any team for my quarterback. I would pick Patrick Mahomes today.
Those are strong words.
Who else would you pick? The dude can throw a no-look pass. He can throw left-handed passes. He can throw on the run. He can throw across his body. I mean, you can't say he doesn't have the skill.
Sure. I just want to see what happens next year.
It's a team game.
Exactly. And before we start throwing around $200 million, we need to recognize that it's a team sport, and we need to just, be a little bit sure here of what we're doing. I mean, I don't care. I don't
This
fucking
is so
care.
flipped.
At the
We
end
had
of the-
this
at the end of-
conversation. We had this conversation about Rodgers, and I was on that side. I was like, oh, he's kind of old. He's been hurt. We've got his guaranteed money.
No, this is the opposite because
How?
you don't know if he's the man. He's 23 years old. How do you know if
could
he's
say
the man
same
or
thing.
not?
You could say the same thing about Aaron. Oh, he's been hurt. He got hurt again this year at the last game. He got hurt. He actually got hurt first game. You might remember being carted off, and I thought, oh, well, there's all that fucking money pissed away.
I thought the same thing, actually, yeah. Which is what that proves my point. That proves my point.
That I was right then.
You were right then. But fine, give Patrick Mahomes $200 million. Oh, he got hurt. He's out for the season.
We got to see
that's
the
a great paperweight.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing about it, but the combination of Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, I keep reading articles like, you'll never guess who might be going for Le'Veon Bell. Is Antonio Brown a good fit here? And it's almost every fucking team in the league that people are forecasting these players go to. And the Packers have been mentioned in both cases. Specifically, I've read that Le'Veon Bell, the teams expected to pursue him would be the Packers, Jets, Texans, Raiders, and Ravens. I've also read that Antonio Brown would be a good fit for the Patriots, Raiders, and Packers.
Antonio Brown, I think, he's a good fit for the Patriots, I think. They lost Josh Gordon.
So,
They
don't
could-
care. Don't care. I think he's a good fit for the Packers. I think, okay, I don't want him, number one.
You don't. I'm getting confused.
Right, you should be. It's too much off-field drama. But if he was to go to the Packers, I think he would fit really well with Aaron Rodgers' scramble style. I think that's one thing that Antonio Brown can do really well. He can get open in the scramble. And if you ever watched Rodgers scrambling this year, Devontae Adams is working his way to try and get open. Jimmy Graham is standing there confused. Seriously, I watched Jimmy Graham on every scramble, and he kind of like looked around like, huh? What? Huh?
Literally just woke up.
But also with his hand just in the air like this, like, I'm open. Huh? And there's a guy standing right next to him. But
Here's what I'll ask you. Let me ask it this way. Do you think that with Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, we've got enough? Because here's what I'm worried about. Can the two of them make up enough of a backfield that they're not getting destroyed, getting beat up? Because we really need to run a lot more. Do we have enough power in that backfield? That's the question.
I get what you're saying, but I also wonder if Le'Veon Bell is potentially a system running back. I wonder if
My God.
No, hear me out.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
The reason, and from playing offensive line in high school, the reason why running backs look so good is because they're behind a great offensive line.
He did have one. I agree.
If you look when Le'Veon Bell is gone from that team last year, they still had two running backs that did awesome without him. I don't think Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown, for that matter, are plug-and-play perfect fits anywhere. I think they would be very, very helpful, but I don't think that it's a plug-and-play fit. With the money that they're going to command, I don't think it's necessarily worth taking that risk.
Do you think Bell gets more money than he would have gotten had he just played with the Steelers?
No.
Do you think he comes out net positive, net negative?
Negative.
I have to agree. I just think the way he went about it, it puts too big of a question mark. And now it's been a year since we've even seen him play in a game.
I want to see him come back like Cheeseburger Lacey.
Oh no!
Like he spent the entire season forgetting to work out and just spent the entire season at Denny's eating Grand Slams all day.
You mean a Jimmy Graham slam?
He shows up to camp just fat as fuck.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think both these players are losing stock.
I don't know. I think I would pay AB before I pay Bell.
Yeah, agreed. But I think they're both losing stock by kind of shunning their own team and being very vocal about like, fuck this team, I don't like it.
Hold on here. Antonio Brown, to me, what I'm hearing, I mean, he's got some off the field stuff that I don't love. Like when I look at an Antonio Brown situation, it's more like Ben Roethlisberger being shitty, talking shit about him on the news and all that stuff. Like, I don't know if I was high profile and in that same situation, if I would have handled that part of it any much better than that. This is a guy, you've been to Super Bowls together. That's your quarterback. That's my teammate.
I know all about someone being my quarterback, Brennan. I know you listening right now in the future, Brennan, my quarterback.
Anyway, look, man, Antonio Brown, when Roethlisberger comes out and says all that shit about Antonio Brown, I get it. That would make me mad too. I don't know. I don't think he looks nearly as bad on paper or at all compared to Le'Veon Bell, especially if you're just looking at that part of it.
I do agree with you. If I was to take a jump on either one, it would be Antonio Brown. I think that closes out the Gossip Girl section. One new section we want to do that I'm kind of excited about to close the show. We want to kind of start doing an interesting take section or interesting things, something that's like a little bit out of the box or something that we found that was pretty cool. The cool thing here is there is a brain doctor, Ray Colello, who was trained at Oxford. This article is, by the way, is from leapsmag.com. The author is Bob Rohr.
You could stand under my Ray Colello. Hello. That's going to be in his commercial when these helmets come out. You could stand under my Ray Colello.
I sure hope so. There were some pretty cool things I didn't actually know from reading this article.
What didn't you know?
So the NFL obviously requires players to pick from a handful of styles of helmets. I didn't know that they were ranked 1 through 5 for safety. The average NFL player is 26.6 years old. The average age of an NFL player wearing a 1-star helmet is 34, which I guess is because these older players just continue to wear the helmet they were wearing in college when things were less developed. So I didn't know that there's a ranking system, number one. Number two, the engineer in me is very attracted to this idea, but also there's limitations to it. This particular guy, Ray Colello, wants to have helmets that include magnets on the inside. Hear me out. As we should all know from our first or second grade, whatever class it was, magnets, opposite forces attract, same forces repel.
Boom. Science.
What this guy is proposing is to put a bunch of magnets inside everybody's helmets. So what happens when the helmets get close to each other is they push away from each other. The reason why concussions happen is because of the sudden deceleration of a head going from however fast it's running to the ground in, a matter of milliseconds, makes your brain slam on the inside of your skull, causes a concussion, turns into CTE in the future, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. But the idea is, and it's the same thing with adding more padding in a helmet, is to give the head more time to slow down before it comes to a complete stop. And when you do that, what happens is the G forces of the brain striking the inside of the skull are reduced. So with these magnets, the idea would be that when the helmets get close to each other, the repelling magnetic fields would help the head slow down before impact. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. I'm not too sure how I would feel about having my head surrounded by magnets for hours and hours on end.
The biggest problem right now is that they think it's too heavy.
Yeah, it adds like a pound and a half to the helmet, which would also make my neck pretty sore, I would think.
I mean, it's significant. It's a significant amount of weight. It's almost doubles the weight of a helmet.
This is the nerd speaking. As everybody knows, kinetic energy is 1/2 mv squared, where m is the mass, v is the velocity. Increasing the weight of the helmet also increases the energy.
But my favorite part is there's like, oh yeah, magnets are super heavy. Let's change them into electromagnets. We're just gonna connect a battery pack, maybe in the shoulder pads or something, and we're just gonna charge electromagnets through your helmet.
Gen 2 of magnet helmets featuring solar panels.
What about them night games though?
Night games are risky games.
The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night.
And apparently the NFL actually asked the world. I wasn't privy to it. They didn't ask me. But the NFL asked the world for some out-of-the-box type ideas, and he submitted this. And so I think it'd be cool to see it gain at least some research. As it is right now, they already use accelerometers and things like that to measure impacts in helmets. And they use them in mouth guards, too. And they can actually monitor in real time. And a doctor on the sidelines can monitor if someone is taking a hit too hard, and they can pull them out of the game immediately to help evaluate and protect them from further injury, which is pretty cool. So I like that those are small changes using technology to make the game safer without changing the rules and making it unfucking watchable.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know what's interesting? I was reading about this last night on the bus at the airport. Bob Costas, the NBC sports anchor, he got pulled from the Super Bowl because of his statements about chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
I was not aware, no.
Yeah, he got pulled. Here's a quote from what he said. "You cannot change the basic nature of the game. If I had an athletically gifted 12 or 13-year-old son, I would not let him play football." They said to Bob Costas, "Bob, you crossed the line. You're off the Super Bowl." Well, with that, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in for Getting Cheesy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Once again, we are live on iTunes, and new this week, we are live on Google Play for all our Android friends.
If you want the best of both worlds, just get the Stitcher app. Enjoy podcasts on any of your mobile devices with pure listening bliss.
Are you a Stitcher spokesperson?
No, but I do really prefer that one. I think the best.
Check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter. We're fucking everywhere. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Peace.